Hi everyone, Wolf Lord Rowe here, and today I'm going to talk about which of his brothers Leman Russ thought he could beat, or perhaps not beat. Now, these thoughts in particular are from the novel Wolfsbane, which focuses on Leman Russ going to face Horus during the events of the Horus Heresy. I have the audiobook version of this one, and I thoroughly recommend it. It's an extremely good novel, and it was an extremely good listen. The voice acting was particularly great. One of my very favourites thus far, and I've just realised it's another one done by Guy Haley. So again, he's been churning out some extremely good works the past couple of years. So, you know, at the minute, if I see his name, and it tends to be an extremely good read. So he's definitely my number one author when it comes to Black Library at the moment. So let's just get straight on to the topic. During this book, Russ invites Loken aboard his flagship, the Harafnikau, to find out what exactly has happened to Horus since his turn, and essentially, you know, can he beat him? You know, Russ hasn't seen Horus since the outbreak of the Horus Heresy. He doesn't know what Horus has become. He's hearing the stories, he's hearing what everyone's saying, but he hasn't seen him. He doesn't know for himself. So he's really trying to find out more. And during this conversation, Russ begins to talk about fighting his brothers. So I'll read you the whole passage first, and then we'll go back and break down some of it. In the old days, I thought I could beat most of my brothers. Maybe not Sanguinius. In him is a fine blend of skill and fury. He is a Bazark in angel's garb. Or the Night Haunter, for he has the heedless power of the insane. But the others? Angron? He is too angry. Fulgrim, he shrugged. Too proud. Perturabo and Dawn are too stolid. Gilliman is too stern to enjoy battle, and so I would beat him too. Lorgar I could spit on and that would drop him into the dirt, he is so weak from all the kneeling. Alfarius is a wretched serpent, and we all know what happened to the great sorcerer of Prospero. The rest I could defeat as easily as this. He snapped his fingers. Horus though? Put to it, one-on-one, I could have beaten him. It would have been hard and close fought, and had fortune favoured him over me, he would have triumphed. But the feat was within my grasp. So, how cool is that? I mean, I love Leman Russ. Firstly, yeah, he's pretty confident, as you would expect of the Emperor's executioner. You get the sense that he'd fancy his chances against any of them. But he realises the danger of Sanguinius and Kurz, and that he might be a little out of his match, possibly. You know, maybe not Sanguinius. In him is a fine blend of skill and fury. He is a Bazark in angel's garb. This goes with most of the accepted lore that Sanguinius is essentially an absolute badass, that the only reason he isn't kicking everyone's asses is that he's just too damn nice. But seriously, a duel between Russ and Sanguinius would be absolutely epic reading indeed. You know, whoever would win, you know, it would be an extremely tough one to call, and even Russ himself is not sure if he'd be able to beat Sanguinius. I would love to read it. I'm sure we'd all love to read it. There hasn't really been much interaction between Russ and Sanguinius that we've really been able to see. Yeah, there's a bit on Terra, but you know, how about a novel set back during the Great Crusade where the Blood Angels and Space Wolves are together taking a system? You know, that would be some fantastic reading. A sparring match between Sanguinius and Russ. That would be really, really good reading. The next one I was a little surprised by, Comrade Kurz, the Night Haunter. Now, before I get all the Night Lord fans all riled up, let me explain. I was surprised, as I really felt that the Lion is getting the better of Kurz in the Angels of Caliban novel, and the other events that are taking place during the Horus Heresy over in Ultramar. You know, so that was a little surprise to me. I know Comrade Kurz is generally seen as one of the better fighters, and he especially was in the earlier Black Library Horus Heresy novels, particularly at Eastfan, when Korax withdrew rather than taking on Kurz during a fight. So I can kind of see Russ umming and ahhing. You know, I really think the key is in the description of he has the heedless power of the insane. So to me, Russ is thinking along the lines of, you can't prepare for what he'll do, as he could, he could simply do anything. So that makes sense, If I don't know what he'll do in a fight, how do I know if I would win or lose? There is a chance I would lose. And then the others, he's pretty confident with. Angron, he's too angry. Now, some people will say, hang on. Angron won during the events of Night of the Wolf. However, it's pretty clear, unless you're like a World Eater fan, when you read that Russ was holding back deliberately to not only let his forces surround Angron, but in an attempt to help his brother come to his senses and try and beat the effects the butcher's nails are having in his head. Russ clearly feels if he didn't hold back, he could defeat Angron, and hey, I'm going to agree on that one. Fulgrim, he shrugged, too proud. Perturabo and Dawn are too stolid. Gilliman is too stern to enjoy battle, and so I would beat him too. Yeah, Russ clearly isn't sweating a fight with any of those. Then the line, the absolute show stealer line, Lorgar I could spit on and that would drop him into the dirt. He is so weak from all the kneeling. So yes, it's pre-demonhood Lorgar, but that made me laugh. Russ clearly has no respect for Lorgar at all. Horus I'll discuss in a separate video, as the fight between them in Wolfsbane is definitely worth talking about, and its repercussions going forward in my mind. I really do want to talk about that in a future video. Now, what's also interesting is the Primarchs that aren't mentioned. And we all know what happened to the great sorcerer of Prospero. The rest I could defeat as easily as this. And he snapped his fingers. As easily as snapping his fingers? Now, honestly, I think the line was added so the author didn't have to try and list each Primarch and what would Russ say about them. Because some of them are, when you think about it, some of the ones that aren't said are actually some of the possible best fighters out of the Primarchs, The lion and him duelled for ages to a standstill. Admittedly, it was more of a wrestling match between two angry brothers than an attempt to kill each other, but, hey, still, neither of them got the better of each other. And then you've got the Khan and Korax, two of the better Primarchs in combat. Easily as snapping your fingers. I think that's a bit of overconfidence on Russ's part, maybe. Even Vulcan you'd expect to be a pretty tough fight due to the sheer size and strength of him. However, it's very interesting to take it for what it's worth, and that Russ clearly has a strategy in his mind and how he would fight each of his brothers. And really, what would you expect? You wouldn't expect anything less from the Emperor's executioner, would you? He would expect him to have a strategy in mind and how he would fight each and every one of them the moment he meets them and starts eyeing them up. You wouldn't really expect anything less. It doesn't mean he doesn't care for his brothers or some of his brothers. It's just the way that they're all bred. So what do you guys think? Go check out Wolfsbane if you haven't already, especially if you're a fan of the Wolf King, Leman Russ. I'm definitely going to talk about his fight with Horus in an upcoming video, as that needs talking about. Do you think Russ is right? Or do you think he's being a little boastful and full of himself? If you do, you're a heretic, I'm just saying. But, thanks for listening, guys. Drop a comment below and please like and subscribe. Helps me grow the channel and keep bringing future content to you. And with that said, I'll see you again soon.